Hey guys, it's Miss Buddha. I'm going to review some of the examples that you'll see for the 5 questions on quiz 13, which will be the final quiz of the year, other than your final exam. So the first question is going to be giving you 2 triangles, and they're saying they are similar. So it gives you angle H is 20, angle G is 105. We need to find this third angle first, and then figure out what the 3 angles would be on the smaller triangle. So to find the third angle at I, you would have to add up 105 plus 20, which gives you 125. 3 angles in a triangle have to add up to 180, so we're going to take 180 minus 125, and we end up with 55. So this angle at I is 55 degrees. Now triangle ZY and X is similar to the bigger triangle. So what similarity means is they're the same shape, but one's larger than the other. However, the angles are all congruent. So if you imagine twisting XYZ's triangle to match up with HI and G, you have to match up the angles. So this one at Z is the same as G. So Z and G are both 105. Then you have the angle up at the top at H is 20, and that's similar to X. So this is also 20 degrees. And then finally, the third angle at I we found is 55. That's the same as Y here, which would be 55. So on this type, you just have to find the third angle, add them up, subtract from 180, visualize which angle would be similar to the other one by kind of rotating it around. And the angles on the big one are the same as the angles on the small one. Question 2 is going to give you 2 polygons that are similar, so corresponding side lengths are similar. So I color coded these. So side length BC, that's 7 in yellow, is the same as side length QR, which is labeled as X. And similarly, the 5 and the 7 are corresponding side lengths. Same with the pink sides I highlighted, 3 and 4.2, and the bottom 2 and 2.8. Those are all corresponding sides. So to figure out what X is, you need to create a proportion, which is 2 equal fractions. One of those needs to involve X, so I'm going to put 7 over X for one fraction, because those correspond. And then the other one I'll use is sides 5 and 7. So notice these numbers are on the smaller one, and these numbers, the 7x, are on the larger one. And then the corresponding sides over one another. So we're going to solve our proportion by using cross products. So this is 5x equals 7 times 7, which is 49. And you're going to take 49 divided by 5, and you end up with 9.8. So x equals 9.8. I could have also used 7 over x for the 1 ratio and 3 over 4.2 if you really wanted to. And if you cross products those, 7 times 4.2 is 29.4. Divided by 3, I still get 9.8 that way as well. So you don't have to use all the sides, but you need at least 4 corresponding side lengths. The third type of question is an indirect measurement. So if it doesn't give you a picture, it's helpful to draw one first. So we have a pole that's 3.4 meters tall, so I'm just going to draw this. Label it 3.4 meters. It has a shadow that's 1.53 meters long. This is the shadow. And then at the same time, we have a tower nearby. So this is the pole. I'll draw another picture for the tower. We don't know its height, but we know the shadow is a little bit longer. It's 46.25 meters long. We need to find how tall the tower is, so we're missing this side length. We'll call it X. So again, we're going to set up a proportion of corresponding sides. I'm going to make a fraction out of the first information, which is on the pole. So it's 3.4 tall and 1.53 is the shadow. And then on the tower, since I have the height at the top, I'm going to have to put X there and the shadow number at the bottom. And we're going to use cross products. So 1.53x equals, and if you use a calculator and do 46.25 times 3.4, you get 157.25, and then you have to divide both sides by 1.53. And x is about, and it says round to the nearest meter, so the nearest whole number. On my calculator, I get 102.7 repeating, but the 7's going to bump that up to about 103 meters. So pay attention to the rounding. Question 4 is using Pythagorean theorem on a right triangle. So Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. C is always the hypotenuse number, which is across from the right angle. All right, we have this building, it's 34 meters tall, it has a shadow. We don't know the length of the shadow, that's what we're trying to find out. But the distance from the top of the building to the tip of the shadow is 37, so that's labeled on the picture. If necessary, we're eventually going to round to the nearest tenth. So I can call the one across from the right angle is the hypotenuse, that's C. I can call the other one A or B, and I'm missing the other one. So if we substitute this in to Pythagorean theorem, we got 34 squared plus a B squared equals 37 squared. Following order of operations, you have to square the numbers. So 34 squared is 1156 plus b squared equals 37 squared is 1369. You have to get b alone by subtracting 1156 from both sides. And you'll get b squared equals 213. And to unsquare the b, you have to square root both sides. And we're going to approximately round this to the nearest tenth, like the directions say. So it's about 14.6 meters. The hypotenuse should always be the longest side on a right triangle, so the other two numbers must be smaller. You might get a Pythagorean theorem question where I'm missing the hypotenuse, so I don't know C, but I can call this 10 an A and the 12 a B. So we're trying to find the length of the string of the kite. So again, you're going to start with Pythagorean theorem. You're missing C this time, so it's 10 squared plus 12 squared equals C squared. 10 squared is 100. 12 squared is 144. If you add them, you get 244. And you have to take the square root. So second square root button on the calculator. And this also says to round to the 10th. So C is approximately 15.6 feet. Which makes sense because, like I said, the hypotenuse should be the longest side. 15.6, sorry. And finally, the last topic is finding area of a triangle. But you have to find the missing side length first using Pythagorean theorem, and then we'll use the area of a triangle formula. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The one across from the right angle, like I said, is C. We can call the 8A, so I'm missing side length B. So we have 8 squared plus B squared equals 10 squared. 8 squared is 64. 10 squared is 100. We're going to subtract 64 from both sides. B squared equals 36. And if you square root, you get b is 6. Now that is not our final answer to the question. We want the area. So the area formula for a triangle is 1/2 the base times the height. So 1/2, the base is 6, and the height is 8. So 1/2, 6 times 8. Half of 6 is 3. 3 times 8 is 24. And the units are meters squared. So 24 meters squared is your final answer for that one.